very important subject. As you all know, that there has been a revision in the definition of the micro, small, and medium enterprises under the MSME Act, MSME Development Act 2006, and what are going to be the repercussions on the insolvency and bankruptcy law space. So we have a very eminent faculty to take up that subject. Dipti Mehta ma'am is with us. I will just briefly introduce ma'am and hand it over to her to take the subject. Uh, so Dipti Mehta ma'am, she's a founding partner at Mehta and Mehta Company Secretaries. She's also a director at Mehta and Mehta Legal and Advisory Private Limited. She has been she's a we are very proud to have her as our company secretary member. She has been to the profession for the last 24 years. She started her career as a chief financial officer, administrative manager, and company secretary of Thane Electric Supply Company Limited, which is BSC Limited company. She was in the corporate world for 5 years as a company secretary, compliance head, and finance manager before setting up her professional practice in the legal and secretarial field. Since past 24 years, was she was a whole time practicing company secretary. She has experience and expertise in the field of Companies Act, FEMA Act, SEBI regulations, listing agreement, ESOC, buyback, restructuring, due diligence, winding up, and closure of business, and a lot of other subjects. So, and she's also an independent director of certain companies. Uh, she has given the training and lectures on the Companies Act, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. She, she's a insolvency professional. She has also given lectures on FEMA Act, various professionals as well as government officers, including income tax, IS, and RBI officers. She's also given lectures on various institutions like the Company Secretary Institute, the ICLS Academy, the IBBI, the IOD, CIA, etc. She is an early entrant of the profession of insolvency professional, and she's handling a lot of cases as insolvency assignments. She is a member of the Law Committee and Arbitration Committee of Indian Merchant Chamber and National SME Council of CII. She was a member of Maharashtra State Council of CII. She was also a member of Secretarial Standards Board of ICSI. She has entered into another field of law. I mean, she's also an advocate by profession and has set up, as I already told you, Mehta and Mehta Law Office. So, with that brief introduction, I request Mehta ma'am, Dipti Mehta ma'am, to take up the subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitin, for a nice introduction. Good evening, friends. I thanks ICSI to give me this opportunity, and I respect that ICSI gives such importance to MSME, and that's why they specifically this webinar. This is very important, and as on today, if we are talking the government and in India, it's continuously referred as MSME is on a prime sector. Everyone is were talking about MSME. So in that, this webinar is crucial. And India, being MSME sector is actually important for each and every country. For India, it is specifically because it is a developing country and majority portion of rural areas are also having MSME. And if the country uplifts MSME, it lifts upliftment of rural India as well. And that's why this MSME. And the government is specifically considering this as important area to be taken care. And various, since US government is giving many benefits, but now it is giving a structural shape and to ensure that benefits reach to the ultimate level and keep a track of the effect. They have worked out certain scheme. Now, I will start my presentation and I'll just share the screen for that. Give Give me a minute for that, please. And MSME, my today's topic is MSME Udhyam, new criteria for classification of MSME. If you say that, why MSME? It plays very important role in growth of a country, and export being an important part is required to be taken care, which is very widely taken care by MSME. It contributes a lot. Now, to GDP of a country, MSME contribute 30%, almost 30% of our GDP is contributed by MSME. So this support is very crucial for the GDP development of a country. And that's why this MSME support and MSME concentration and extra care is required. Very important is employment. If a country wants to grow, it requires a spending capacity of the people. The spending comes when there is an earning. Earning comes when there is an employment. So employment is very crucial for the growth of a country. And MSME sector contributed lot level in employment. The percentage of employment as compared to investment involved is always higher in MSME as compared to the MNC. And that's why it is crucial. If you can see the data on the screen, it's by MSME ministry only, recent data. And in that, there are, if you take a different category of industry, manufacturing itself in rural area employ 186 lakhs of people. In trade, it is 160 lakhs. And other services, 150 lakhs. So in all, 497, almost 498 lakhs of people in rural area are employed by MSME. How we can not see the importance of MSME? And it's very crucial. And that's why even in rural and urban area, the percentage is almost similar for the employment. And that's why it is again becoming important to give that. Now let's come to what is MSME. MSME is basically, we understand, a small industry or small business enterprise. Before 1st July 2020, MSME was described based on the investment criteria. How much is the investment in this MSME business? So there are two kinds of classification.
Ma'am,
Hello.
Ma'am, Chakshi this side. Ma'am, your presentation is not visible to participants.
Oh, I see. Just a minute. I'll just check that. 1 minute. Just a minute. Screen. Share screen करना. Exit करना. So if you see this, I want to share the screen.
Ma'am, you can click on share and share screen.
Yeah, I'm doing that only. Just give me a minute, please. Nice. Nice. Now it is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is a slideshow Required.
I will make it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks. Sorry for disturbance. ये भी जरा side से ऐसे ही रहेगा. This I want to do. Now, if you say earlier, it was the criteria was investment, and investment was the criteria for manufacturing and service industries. Now, investment of up to rupees 25 lakh in case of manufacturing industry was defined as a micro industry. Up to 5 crore was smaller industry in that classification, and up to 10 crore was in a medium category. Now, service enterprise, that same investment criteria was 10 lakh, 2 crore, up to 2 crore, and up to 5 crore for micro, small, medium. So now, after 1st July, at that time, the criteria, there was a difference in manufacturing and service, because as understood, in manufacturing industry, the one require more investment as compared to service industry. And that's why there was a difference in investment criteria. But when come 1st July, this criteria has been changed. Now, manufacturing and service industry are with the same criteria. But in criteria, investment is related to turnover. So the criteria is related investment to turnover. If you observe, it is almost 5 times. So accordingly, now it is a composite criteria. An enterprise or a business unit, if wants to categorize itself into micro, small or medium, need to comply both the criteria of investment and turnover to be registered in that particular criteria. So if a business unit or enterprise has an investment less than 1 crore and the turnover less than 5 crore, then it can register as a micro enterprise. If the investment is less than 10 crore and turnover is less than 50 crore, then that particular business unit can be registered as a smaller enterprise. And further, investment is less than 50 crore and turnover is less than 250 crore, that enterprise can be registered as a medium scale enterprise. Earlier also, it was not compulsory that MSME get registered under MSME Act and get registration certificate. Here also, under this scheme, it is provided it can register, but the existing registered unit is compelled to register under this criteria. But as we go ahead, we'll understand that it will compel almost all industry unit, whatever may be the size, to register under this criteria if they want to avail this benefit. Both investment and turnover criteria should be followed. So if your investment is, as I mentioned earlier, I have mentioned, is 1 crore and turnover is 5 crore, you are in micro industry and small. Now, both the criteria should be covered. Enterprise, suppose the enterprise crossed the limit, either of the two criteria, either investment or turnover. As I mentioned, both should be done, complied with. If enterprise investment crosses 1 crore, though turnover is 5 crore, still it will move to higher cadre. So even if any of the criteria is not met, then it will move the enterprise will move to next level. And it ceases to exist in the current category and will be placed in next higher category. Suppose your turnover or investment goes below the limit, then you will be placed in the lower category. It will be reverse also if your limit is below the limit. So to remain in that particular criteria, enterprise has to comply both the criteria of investment and turnover. Government has linked this registration to GST and income tax, that is PAN number. And this registration is linked to the GST return and income tax return of the applicant. And if a unit is having a GST, another unit has another GST, but it belongs to an enterprise which has single PAN number, then there will be only one registration. So the meaning is one PAN number will have one is Udhyam registration. Udhyam registration. Sorry. So one PAN number will have only one Udhyam registration, even though there will be different. So one PAN number, one Udhyam registration. It may have different activity, manufacturing and service. Both will be covered in the same. So if there is a 2-3 units, so all the turnover and investment of all the units will be taken together as a criteria to decide whether that enterprise will be small, medium, or micro, small, or medium with the same one PAN number. Now, aggregate value will be considering for deciding category of micro, small, medium enterprise. Calculation of turnover. It's very clear that in that it is mentioned that turnover will, in that turnover, export of goods and services will be excluded. So if it is export, the same will be excluded and you will remain in the same category. So suppose your turnover is 400 crores. Sorry, not 400, 400 rupees, for example, and of that 100 is your export. Your turnover for calculating this criteria will be only 300. So export of goods or services, either of it will be excluded in deciding the turnover criteria. Turnover and export turnover for enterprise shall be linked to income. Now, how they will receive, decide your turnover or export figure? It is based on your income tax and GST return file. This registration will retrieve or take data from that site as well. Suppose an enterprise does not have PAN, considered self-declaration up to 31st March 2021. But after 31st March 2021, that enterprise should compulsorily have PAN and GST registration. That number should be there. So till 31st March 2021, the same will be allowed without PAN and GST. And it will work on self-declaration. This is the site actually where the actual registration will happen. It says micro, small, medium, and then champions means you are out. So it is having two boxes. One is for who are MSME which are not registered yet. And you can read if MSME is registered at present, they can enter into second box, which are registered at present. Because existing MSME which are registered, they require to re-register under this Udhyam registration. Now, this is online filing, online registration, and it is based on self-declaration. Obviously, as I'm telling, this site is connected to income tax and GST sites, so that filing is connected here. So self-declaration is there. Be careful. You are required to give correct figures. There is no required to upload documents, papers, certificate, and proof. They are taking from your other sites. Permanent identity number known as Udhyam registration number. Now you have this another number, your PAN number, GST number, Aadhaar number, Udhyam registration. As soon as this process is over, online process, there is no fee, it's free of charge. Udhyam registration certificate will be issued on completion. That will be the proof of certificate, proof of registration, sorry. Now, registration of existing enterprise. All existing enterprise registered under ENM Part 2 or UAM shall register. See here, shall register. It is compulsory. Again on Udhyam registration portal on or after 1st July 2020. However, all enterprise which are registered can till 30th June 2020 shall be reclassified in accordance with this notification. An enterprise, existing enterprise, registered prior to 13th June 2020 shall continue to be valid only for a period up to 31st day of March 2021. So 31st March 2021 is a target date whereby you should be registered, existing MSME registered unit should register under Udhyam registration. It's online portal, free of charge, no documentation, self-declaration. And if you are doing first time, if the unit is not having any income tax record, then you are required to give self-declaration and the invoice of your purchases of machinery plant will work. And later on, but by 31st March 2021, you should have GST and all other records. If an enterprise is registered with any other organization under the Ministry of MSME, shall register itself under Udhyam registration. So existing unit is compulsory required to be registered. Form for the registration shall be provided on the portal and no fee. Aadhaar number is required. In case of proprietary firm, the Aadhaar number of proprietor. In case of partnership firm, of managing partner. In case of HUF, Aadhaar of Karta. In case of a company, LLP or a cooperative society or a society or a trust, the organization or its authorized signatory shall provide GSTN and PAN along with the Aadhaar number of authorized signatory. So GST, PAN and Aadhaar number of authorized signatory will be required for this registration process. In case an enterprise is duly registered as an Udhyam with PAN, any deficiency of information from previous year when it did not have PAN shall be filled up with self-declaration basis. No enterprise shall file more than one Udhyam registration. As I mentioned, one PAN, one Udhyam registration. Any number of activity including manufacturing, service or both may be specified added in one Udhyam registration only. Whoever intentionally misrepresent or attempt to suppress self-declared facts and figures appearing in the Udhyam registration or updation process shall be liable for penalty under Section 27 of the MSME Act. This is just a number of MSME statistics I have provided. It is 32 in rural area, 32.41 millions of micro enterprises there, and in urban area it is 30.64 million. And small enterprise in rural area is 32.49 millions, and in urban area it is around 30.9 millions. This for just reference, I thought I should take it. Now, updation of information and transition period in classification. An enterprise register on Udhyam register shall update details including income tax return, GST return, and all other information as may be required on self-assessment. Failure to update within the specific period limit, suspension of status. Information furnished or gathered from government sources, including ITR and GSTR return, the classification of the enterprise will be updated. So, as I mentioned, that if you think that your turnover, as I mentioned, you have crossed the limit of investment or turnover, and your classification is going to change, but you do not intimate, please note down. Your ITR and GST return is speaking, the data will be retrieved and your status will be changed. And immediately SOCOS notice will come to you, boss, you have not informed within timeline. So please vigilant, you have to inform, you have to keep a track of your, you should be knowing that what is my turnover, what is my investment. Now, graduation or reverse graduation, it will be communicated to enterprise. When you are upgraded from micro to small, or there is a reverse graduation, you are, I will not say downgraded, you have come from small to micro, suppose, then the same will be communicated by this point. Now, in case of upward change, an enterprise will maintain its prevailing status till expiry of 1 year from the close of the year of registration. So it's not like that today your turnover, it's basically taken audited figure. That's very clear. They are taking audited figure. So when you submit the same, it will, for that close of that year of registration, you maintain the same status. In case there is a reverse graduation, then enterprise will continue in the present category till the closure of the financial. And it will be given the benefit of change status with effect from 1st April of the financial year following the year in which change took place. So for that particular year, you will remain in the same category. Next financial year, you will be in the next category. So financial year is a decisive criteria for changing the status. Otherwise, there can be, understanding problem. So they have taken financial year as a base for changing the status. This is facilitation and grievance redressal for enterprise. They want to ensure that if any issue is there, there should be grievances to be addressed. Single window facilitation system is there. Champions control room is set up. Ministry, including Development Institute, is working towards this. District Industry Center will help for this registration. So its government is trying their best. Now the question comes, I do this registration, MSME. What is the benefit? Before that, I would just like to mention that MSME registration is not compulsory as on today. Under this also, for new enterprise, it is not compulsory. Of course, the MSME which is at present registered need to register. It's compulsory. But over the period, if you observe that each businessman will register itself, because to take the benefit, you need this registration. The moment you registered here, you are required to take PAN and GST, and your bank account is traced. Positive, negative impact both are there. The government wants to ensure that the benefit goes to the respective people. And also, when investment and turnover is connected, it wants to see the benefit, that by this benefit, what is the impact on each enterprise? Each enterprise will have unique registration number. It will have to collect the information and the data, and accordingly the benefits, scheme, modification to the scheme, all that can be worked out. It's a wonderful steps taken by that. I think everyone should get registered because there is a benefit. And it can be channelized. This benefit can be channelized. Hawkers, as I understood, that there is a scheme mentioned that certain state government is thinking even to give benefit to hawkers. Now, how you locate the hawkers and do this? If this kind of registration is there, you have all the details and you can pass on the benefit directly to the bank accounts of the beneficiary who are eligible. This all will help to channelize the efforts and benefits to the right recipient. Now let's understand the key benefits of MSME registration in India. Why I have written here MSME? Because this is the existing benefits available. It's not that COVID related or anything specially for this Udhyam registration. So once Udhyam registration, the enterprise will get this benefit as well. Let's take for benefits of registration. Collateral free loan. So here the company MSME enterprise need not give the collateral security. Government will provide that collateral security and it will be collateral free loan. There is no requirement of fresh collateral. And it is Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for MSME is implementing this scheme. Now, protection against delayed payment. MSME is required to be paid within 45 days. And if it is not paid, then the penal interest at the rate 3 times of the bank rate as notified by RBI is paid. Now, easy to get license approval and registration. Suppose you are in particular industry, food industry or anything, you require so many license and registration. If you are MSME registered, you attach that registration with your application for all this license and registration. You get benefit and it comparatively ease the process and in the time and other efforts if you are MSME registered. Special consideration on international trade fairs. It is based on the reimbursement of the expenses, this consideration. If any unit or any association or any institution which is registered, they carry out a special visit or arrange a seminar international or which are specially associated to SME, which will benefit to SME. It intend to create or visit a trade fair overseas. Then, especially for SME, it creates the clients and it helps to MSME. Then, the government provide the reimbursement of expenses incurred to this institution, central state government organization, any enterprise association, registered society, trust, which are associated with MSME. It is with the intention to help the MSME to participate in international. Concession in electricity bill. Now, reimbursement of ISO certification. Your ISO certification, if you obtain and you provide, again that cost is reimbursed by the government to a particular extent if you are MSME. Now, if you are again MSME, you get 1% exemption on interest rate on overdraft facility availed by MSME. If MSME registered patent, then they get 50% rebate on the fees. Also, I'll mention that there is a special IPR registered, means intellectual property consultant who are empaneled, who give specialized service to SME enterprise and they are paneled. Now, trade receivable discounting. There's a TRED, it's known. It's a platform where the bills or invoices of MSME sellers get it price discovers with the e-auction mechanism. It's an e-platform, and by which factoring and reverse factoring happens, and this is a benefit to the MSME. Then interest equalization scheme, then credit rating support. In that, again, the cost of credit rating gets reimbursed. Has criteria, because credit rating fees also depends on the turnover. So based on the fees with certain limit, there are criteria, 3 criteria, the government pay back the amount involved. Now, priority sector lending, it can be considered MSME is a priority sector lending and it get benefit for that. Now, credit facilitation through banks, the government through the institute has entered into MOU with the banks, and that with that credit facilitation is carried out. Now let's come to COVID-related relief package announced by our government for MSME. 3 lakh crore collateral-free automatic loans for business. It for all business, not specifically MSME, also including MSME. And this is specially COVID package, and where the borrowers with up to 25 crore outstanding and the turnover of 100 crore will be eligible for this benefit. Here, the loans has tenure of 4 years with 12 months moratorium on principal payment. Interest will be curtailed, it will be capped. The amount is, the limit is not given. 100% credit guarantee cover to banks and NBFC who extend this kind of loan. Scheme will be availed till 31st October 2020 only, and there is no fresh collateral, no guarantee fee. It is assumed that 45 lakh units can benefit with this scheme. Now, 50,000 crore equity infusion for MSME through Fund of Fund. It is oriented, this scheme is oriented towards the equity. It has a corpus of 10,000 crore, it will be set up, will provide equity funding for MSME with growth potential and viability. Fund of Fund will be operated through Mother Fund and through Mother Fund and few Daughter Fund. What is Daughter Fund and Mother Fund? Mother Fund provides specialized financing, often called as a merchant cash, advance for small business. Venture capitalists create the fund which is known as Daughter Fund. So this is Mother Fund, Daughter Fund. Now, this fund structure will help leverage rupees 50,000 crore of funds at a Daughter Fund level. This will help to expand MSME size as well as capacity. This, since it's an equity based, this will help to MSME to listed on main board exchange, because if MSME, which is registered in MSME stock exchange, when it moves to the main board of stock exchange, there is a contribution required from promoter, there is a criteria, and due to COVID that is not possible, then this facility, this help will help that promoter to infuse equity and can get listed on main board. Now, 20,000 crore subordinate debt for stress MSME. It is specifically stress MSME, because all units are stressed in COVID. Let's accept that. Straight MSME need equity support. As on today, everyone is needed. Government of India will facilitate provision of 20,000 crore as a subordinate debt. It is stated that 2 lakh MSME are likely to benefit. Functioning of MSME which are NPA and or a stress will be eligible. But the MSME should be operating. It should not be closed. There are NPA which are closed. So the NPA MSME which is functioning, working, or are stressed are eligible under this scheme. Government will provide the support of 4,000 crore to CGT MSE. This is a central government trust for medium small enterprise, and that CGT MSE will provide partial credit guarantee support to the banks. These banks will then release the funds to MSME. Now, these banks will give to the funds to the promoter of MSME, and MSME, promoter of MSME will be given debt by the bank, which will then be infused by promoter as an equity in the unit. So the promoter equity contribution is increased in the MSME unit. Global tenders to be disallowed up to 200 crore. This is another movement that till the requirement of government for 200 crores, global tenders will not be there. Always MSME used to suffer due to international competition, due to their position. So to protect and promote MSME, it is now decided till 200 up to 200 crore, global tenders will not be invited, and this will give chance to MSME to participate, and it increases their chance to bid and win that tender. Other intervention, MSME currently face problem of marketing and liquidity due to COVID. E-market linkage for MSME to be promoted to act as replacement for trade fair and exhibition. Please note that it is looked as a replacement of trade fair and exhibition. We referred earlier that reimbursement for the visit to international trade fair exhibition. This is the new movement as the COVID-19, social distancing, everything online we are likely to get more and more. The government intends to use fintech to enhance transaction-based lending using the data generated by e-marketplace. So there will be a market and there is a business generated on that transaction basis, lending will happen. So if you have an order from overseas market through this e-platform, there is a chances, that's a proof that you will get the possibility, the financial facility through this portal due to fintech. Government is continuously monitoring the settlement of dues of MSME vendors from government and central public PSU. This is a bigger complaint for MSME, and it's always you and cry that central and state government or PSU is not releasing fund, and it is committed. And it is mentioned that it should be released in 45 days. Now I'm covering the benefits just since time 5 minutes or 2 minutes I'll take for 2-3 different countries. I thought that it will be just glance through this as the time is there little bit. SME benefits in UK. They have given the business interruption loan scheme. It is directly given to business. Statutory sick pay relates to SME with fewer than 250 employees. They are required to pay that sick leave. If an employee take more than 4 days sick leave, they have to give sick pay. What the government has done, they have fixed the amount. So that is fixed. Then they have given special grant. They have created special fund for small business and giving the funds. Retail and hospitality, is given a special grant. Business rates holiday for retail, they have given a special one-time financials to the retail, hospitality and leisure business because it is affected very worstly. It is based on the property they are occupying. Cornwall's self-employment income support scheme that they are helping to self-employed people, one-time benefit they are giving. In Singapore, I am taking also SME benefits in Singapore. They have given corporate income tax rebate, income tax payment deferred. It is deferred. Special finance relief program, job support scheme for Singapore citizens, wage credit scheme for Singapore's citizen, Foreign worker levy is there. Skill future enterprise. If you skill the future, give certain training, skill trainings, then they say that it is a future, and that's why they give the credit for the same. Now, SME benefits in Canada is the last country it is there. Emergency support plan for SME they have created. Flexibility for outstanding loan and loan guarantees. They have given the flexibility. They can extend it like moratorium period and all that. Tax filing deadline is extended. Concentrated action employment maintenance program. They are trying to help the corporate to maintain the employment. Tax filing payment is deferred. Tax audit is deferred. There are special benefits given to tourism sector and small business and organization. Now, budget for MSME for financial year 20 allocation is Khadi village industry is 1,252 crores highest. And that is intentionally for our rural country, rural area, because this industry employment people in rural areas majority. Upgrading technology quality certification, that is second, that is also 755. Sorry, PMEGP is 2327 crores. It is highest. Interest subvention scheme is 350 crores and market promotion is 127 crores. Minister 6, 12,000 crore allocation. Interest subvention scheme likely to continue. Fund for venture capital and private equity firm. I mentioned that, mother fund, daughter fund, that way. Focus on MSME cluster. This is a very important. The government is focusing on MSME clusters. So as industry specific MSME cluster is there, there is a common facility, testing facility, quality test, then quality certificate. It helps. There are certain big machinery process which are imported. It is costly. If a cluster is there, then all member of this cluster can use this common benefit and they can be competitive. So that is a very focused area and government is helping to MSME cluster in more and more ways. This is all I wanted to say, and I thanks everyone. I think there is a question answer or not. I'll just see. I think it's not there. This end my presentation, and I will leave it to here. Take it. Hello.
Ma'am, there are a few questions in the Q&A box.
Okay.
Okay, if you can open that.
Let's see this. Can you open this book? Close it. Yes. This. Can I get the question? Honestly, I can't see this.
Ma'am, if you can see with the chat symbol, there is an option of more options. If you click on more options, it will Q&A icon over there.
Chat, okay. Okay, nice presentation. See only in chat, I don't know. Just this. We as a company need to take declaration from MSME every year. Yeah, it is required because we have to check that whether that company is MSME or not, and accordingly whether penal interest and the payment will be required or not. The UN is still related to Aadhaar, it director for company. So if the director resign, A new UM is required to be taken. No, you can just as I mentioned, now it is Udhyam registration, and there you can update the details, and it is provided, you yourself can provide. They have provided that option, change in any data. So there is no need, it's updation of the record. Okay, and then it is. Can you please elaborate on mother fund and daughter fund? Basically, mother fund is a direct fund government has created. It is a specialized financing, often called as a merchant cash. It is advances for smaller business. And daughter fund is a special fund created by venture capitalists, and they provide to MSME, and that is supported by the government, and they are supported by government. So it is called daughter fund. So it's like a direct financing to MSME and indirect financing through venture capital fund. So venture capital fund being in that industry, they prefer to give they analyze the eligibility and the possibility of success, and accordingly they invest. So through them also, the government helps that. Somebody has said, okay, I will share the PPT. Since the turnover will change every year, does enterprise needs to register themselves every time they change this threshold? As I mentioned, you have to intimate and update. See, it's not register in the sense, yes, one thing every year you have to, I mentioned in your presentation also, you have to keep eye on your investment and turnover, and every year you have to check. If your turnover or limit is crossing the limit of that criteria, then only you are required to change, otherwise not. You are, till the time you are within, suppose you are registered as a micro industry and your turnover limit is within that 5 crore only, you need not change. Your investment is up to 1 crore, then you are in the same criteria. So even if it moves up to that criteria, you are not to change that. You are not to do any registration change as such. What will happen to unit on which GST is not applicable? Can it doesn't get Udhyam? No, you just mentioned that GST is not applicable, and you have to justify, because your income tax PAN number is crucial, Aadhaar number is crucial. And initial registration, if you are not having even PAN, that will work. That is mentioned. But next year, yes, till 31st March 2021, it will work. I think I answered all the questions. It's over. Whatever is there, I answered. Thank you.
Thank you much, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for everything. This ends my presentation. Thanks a lot to ICICIP and all the participants for their time. Thank you, dear.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, participants, for your kind support and sharing your inputs on the topic as well, and raising your queries with ma'am. I hope your all queries will be cleared from the presentation and from ma'am experience as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. I'll share my PPT. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.